guys, welcome to this video vlog. I don't really know how this is going to go, how I'm going to put it together, but I kind of suggested this in my last lupus video, that maybe I do updates as things are happening, which obviously makes more sense than, sorry, just close the window because I feel like that's quite loud, which obviously would then make sense to vlog it like this rather than like sitting down and setting up a whole thing every time. So yeah, it's just that I have a few updates really for you guys. So basically it's now January, the middle of January. I went and saw a sleep study specialist, and then I got a call just before Christmas, which I missed, and then they called me just after Christmas to like actually talk to me because I missed the call, about going in for a few different things. Basically I had to go in once a week for the first 3 weeks of January into the hospital that does the sleep studies. And then I got told actually that didn't matter, I only had to do it twice. So the first time I had to go in and collect a load of equipment, and then, which was the first week of January, and do a 7-day sleep study at home, then go back in 7 days time to hand it back. But basically they changed that and decided, which they only told me when I got there to pick up the pack, was that actually I was going to do a 2-week one at home, and so then I wouldn't need to come back in between. And in 2 weeks from that date, which is now in 3 days time, I'm going for my overnight one where I stay in hospital. So yeah, basically this has been in a few of my videos now. It's not a watch. This is monitoring my every move. Basically I have to wear it 24/7, all day and all night. I literally only take it off to bath or go swimming, because it can't be submerged in water. Like even in the shower it's fine. Yeah, but I have to wear it all the time, and it's monitoring my heart rate and temperature and blood pressure, I think, and all these different things, and like what kind of sleep I'm getting. But I also have to fill out these forms every day, which has been the long-winded difficult part, because just for example, there's like this tiny box like this big literally to write every piece of medication I take a day. I can barely fit what I take in one go and I do like 3 lots of pills throughout a day, and that's if I'm not feeling very unwell. So yeah, that's been annoying. I ended up like writing on the back of the sheet like a whole key, like P means this pill and this much and this many, and then so I've just been able to like write 1 times P, 1 times F, 1 times H, whatever the pills are, because it just wouldn't fit on the piece of paper. So yeah, I've been filling that out, and I also have to fill out like how long I was in bed before I fell asleep, how long I was in bed before, no sorry, how long I was in bed before I turned the lights out, like how long I was laying in bed before I actually officially was like, right, I'm going to sleep, like turning my phone off. Then how long it took me to sleep, how much I'm waking up in the night, how much alcohol I have, how much caffeine I have, and all these different things. In a good and a bad way, my sleep's been really awful. So it's good that I think it's good that the watch thing will have caught that. Because the last time I did a sleep study at home was just a day, like just literally one night, and it caught nothing because I had a good night. But I've had really rough sleep. I've got up and I've spoken and I've run around the house and done all the things that I do. So hopefully it will have caught that. I'm nervous about going for the sleep study, just because I've never stayed in hospital ever before, and I've got to stay there, like I've got to be there on Wednesday at like 5 PM, and then I can't leave until the Thursday at 5 PM because they're going to do tests on me all day the next day. And I've literally only met my doctor once, and it could be a different doctor that I've never met, so that makes me a bit uncomfortable. Like I'm going to be in such a vulnerable state, and I really do, like I can't explain how panicked I am when I wake in the night, and if that happens and a strange doctor comes in, I really don't know how I'm going to react. And I'm literally like, I've got a million things strapped up to me and on my face and all over my scalp, all over my face, up my nose, and all over my body as well, like around my chest, around my stomach, and then there's like a box that you have that's like is with you, that everything's attached to. It's a lot, and so I'm a bit nervous, but I've also been finding it difficult because I struggle with a level of shame and guilt to do with my lupus, and particularly flare-ups when I feel really bad. For instance, when I'm in a flare-up, I need so much sleep. Like, I can't even explain to you. Like, I think I've said this before. I've said it in one of my first lupus videos. I did that. Like, when I'm in a flare-up, I need like 14 hours a night, and then I'm tired all day. And my sleeping patterns are like all over the place. And that's what it's been like, and I don't know why, but I feel embarrassed. I feel embarrassed that I'm going to the sleep clinic and I'm going to be like, oh yeah, look on my form where it says I'm waking up at like lunchtime some days, even though I went to bed at 10. And I don't know where that's come from, because like, who cares? Like, if I don't have anywhere to be and I'm really unwell, why does it matter what time I get up? But I don't know, I just do. I have this thing in me that's making me feel that way, so I'm like a bit nervous. And I also think that's coming from a place of, I've had so many bad doctors now and specialists and nurses where they've tried to pin anything they can on me rather than treating me. Obviously I take responsibility if something's my fault, you know, but I mean, I'm worried in this instance that they'll try saying that I've got so many sleep problems because I wake up so late, or because my sleep schedule's all over the place. But I literally don't have any control over that. I just don't. Like, sometimes I'll get in bed at 10 and I can't sleep until 4 AM. I'm literally just laying there awake. Like, I don't have control over that, which is why I'm going to them for help. So maybe I am being like silly, but this is my experience. I've had years now of bad doctors trying to blame everything on, oh, it's because you did this, and it's paranoid, and I don't trust doctors. This is what doctors have done to me. So yeah, that's in a few days. I just wanted to like film my thoughts now, and I'll film again maybe when I'm there. Maybe I'll take my camera, show you my room. I do apparently get a private room. I'm not getting my hopes up, because when do you ever get a private room in an NHS hospital? But maybe because it's a sleep clinic I will. But it did say in my paperwork that I got a private room and an ensuite. Fancy. I feel like I'm staying in a hotel. So maybe I'll bring you with me. I feel like I'm going to be really bored and really lonely. We'll see. I'm going to film definitely the day after though, and let you know how it all went and stuff. But yeah, I don't know how this video is going to go. I don't know if this will be the start of the video. I don't know if I'll film a nice intro and then add this in. I don't know. But for now, goodbye. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hey, so I've just got to my hospital room for my first ever overnight stay, and yeah, I just think this is going to be hilarious, so I'm going to keep you guys updated. Got to keep it fabulous wherever we go, so I've got my pink silk jungle jammies on and my flamingo slippers. This is fun. They're literally pointing at my bed, a camera and a microphone. Fun times. By the way, I'm not just in my pyjamas at like 5 o'clock just for lols. I'm having a sleep study overnight done, so I've got to get into my pyjamas and wait for the doctor to come and strap me up to all of the machines. Hi. Update. I'm now all wired up. They're all over my head, all over my body, and I have this, which is actually attached to my head. It's really awkward to try and show you, but they're all like in my hair, in my scalp as well, and behind my ears and stuff. But this, all these wires lead to this, and I've also got them on my legs because it's going all the way down my pyjamas. I tried to pee, but 10 out of 10 would not recommend. It was the most awkward thing of my life, so now I'm just not going to drink anything and hope that I don't need a wee again until tomorrow night. Good morning. I had basically no sleep. I just could not get comfortable. The bed is awful, and obviously this is awful. And I just had my first sleep test and I couldn't sleep, so fail. When I say first sleep test, I mean first of today. Obviously I was tested all through the night, but I had to like have like a forced nap, but I just couldn't sleep, so I guess I failed that one. Also, I got woken up at 6:30 because that's when they wake everyone up, and I'm already bored out of my mind, and I've got to be here till tonight. So they've taken some of my face ones off though, which was nice. Hey guys, so this is another lupus health update. I'm literally sitting on the floor in my spare room. I myself don't even know why. It's one of those days. Yeah, so basically I do have an update because something on my lens. Sleep study, which has now been and gone. I've done that, so I wanted to catch you guys up. Sorry if I keep moving, I really can't get comfortable. I'm in a lot of pain. I was going for 2 different types of sleep tests. One was like an overnight one, and then one was during the day, so I had to stay for a full 24 hours, where a lot of people go in at 5 o'clock in the evening and they leave at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I had to stay till 5 o'clock the following evening. This big, painful, ugly spot. Yeah, I had to stay till 5 o'clock the following evening and have sleep tests done all day. Basically, I could not sleep, like, of the night. I had to get straight into my pyjamas as soon as I got there. Eventually, I got all hooked up to the machines. It was just so uncomfortable. It like looked uncomfortable, and I'd prepared myself that it would be uncomfortable, but I didn't know it would be that uncomfortable. I knew going into it that I was going to have like electrodes or whatever all over my head, whatever they're called, and all over my face, but I didn't know that this box that I had to hold would be literally hanging off my head. Like, anyway, the night time comes, they say there is a bedtime, it'll be lights out. I think it was like 10:30, so I think at like 9:30 I basically got in bed because I was like, I'm bored, there's nothing else to do, they're going to turn the lights off anyway, I might as well try it. And I actually did feel quite tired, which I think was because of the long car journey. Like, I sleep like a baby in cars, so yeah, but I just couldn't sleep. It literally, I was awake for hours. I just was tossing and turning, couldn't get comfortable. I sat up at one point and like went to get up to grab my scrunchie because all my hair was getting caught up in all the wires, and it's ripped a lot of my hair out. Like, all of this had grown back, and now look at the state of it. So upsetting, because I thought maybe if I tie my hair up it like out of the way of, like, on the opposite side of where the wires are, I won't get so tangled and annoyed. Because I got up to go get the scrunchie and like got yanked backwards because I totally forgot I was attached to the bed, like, which was something that I was nervous about going into it. Like, I didn't know how I'd feel being like strapped to a bed in a room that's not locked, that people will be coming in and out of. Obviously doctors and nurses, but we all know I don't really trust doctors and nurses anyway, so that's not a consolation. Got up, and then the nurse came running in. Well, she went over the tannoy first of all. They were like, is everything okay? And I was like, oh, I just wanted to get a scrunchie to turn my hair up. Sorry, I like totally forgot I was attached to the bed. So the nurse came in and was like, I'll get it, and I showed her where it, like, pointing to where it was, and she gave me it, and it was a little bit more comfortable. I got back in bed and I still just couldn't sleep. To be fair, like, it's in the middle of London, so it was really noisy outside. Like, the actual hospital was silent, like, I couldn't have wanted more, but the streets were rowdy AF. Anyway, and then there was like a crazy storm and the wind was crazy, and I called the nurse in. It was the only time I called the nurse in and asked her to shut the window, because obviously you can't get up and do it yourself, which I learned from the scrunchie incident. So I called her and said, could you please shut the window? It's just really windy, and I think that might be keeping me up as well. She was like, it's literally shaking the building. I was like, I know, it's crazy. She shut it for me, and that did help again. Eventually I must have fallen asleep, but I felt like I'd just fallen asleep when they then woke me up. And also, like, I know it's a hospital, but they literally at 6 AM just came in my room and turned the lights on. And that was it. It was like, get out of bed now, and you literally had to get straight out of bed. I don't get straight out of bed ever, because the first half an hour to an hour is the worst for me in terms of stiffness and pain in my body, and like that like awful not feeling like I can walk feeling is like first thing in the morning. So I normally wait in bed and move around and stretch in bed until I feel like I can safely get up and walk, because a lot of the time I wake up alone at home, so ultimately I have to feel safe. Falling a million times doesn't really hurt myself, so because my legs are just not working, my joints are all locked. So yeah, sorry that I keep touching my ears. I think I've still got ear infections, which I'll go into in a sec. But I woken up and they were like, right, the way it'll work is that at 8, 10, 12 and 2 you'll have sleep tests where we'll come in, hook you back up to the bed, like basically plug me in, strap me to the bed, and then you'll have 20 minutes to fall asleep, and if you fall asleep we'll let you sleep for 15 minutes, then we'll wake you up. Well, because of how many people there were and like how long that obviously takes, it's 20 minutes plus 15 minutes, it's 35 minutes. So basically it was like you had an hour to do what you want, and then you were back in bed, and then they'd wake you up, and then you had an hour. It was the weirdest day. They did say that a lot of people like get headaches or feel sick, which I didn't experience, thank God. This is a nice angle. Sorry, this is just where I'm comfortable. Yeah, which I didn't experience, but I also didn't really sleep during those tests. I don't know if I did on the last one or not, but the first 3 I definitely didn't. My doctor came in and spoke to me. He said, you put on your sheet in the morning, you had to fill out like a sheet. I had to do a urine sample in the morning and then fill out like a questionnaire, and he was like, you put in the morning that you thought it took you like 2 hours to fall asleep, and I was like, yeah, well, because I couldn't look at my phone, so I had to keep my phone away from the machines, because she said it can interrupt the noise they pick up or something, I don't know. I was like, yeah, I thought it was about roughly 2 hours, and he was like, it's actually a lot longer than that, like you took hours to fall asleep, and then when you fell asleep you kept waking up. And I said, oh, did I do anything like crazy? And he was like, if you did anything too crazy, like running around or screaming, I'd let you in and show you the video. But he was like, you didn't. He was like, but you did have 2 episodes. He was like, where you just sat bolt upright in the bed and you just sat there for a while and then you just went back to sleep. And he was like, but the weird thing is that normally there's like a specific type of brain activity that happens before these types of episodes in people, and you didn't have that, which I don't know what that means, but he just keeps saying that I have like not an unusual mind, but he keeps saying that my mind is doing like really weird complex things for being asleep. And he was like, you definitely were asleep, but yeah, you didn't have any like, nothing happened, we couldn't see anything that happened that made you do that, like that made you sit up. Nothing led to it, it just happened, which is unusual. So I was like, okay. And he was like, the reason you got to come in quite quickly for this, which I did say I thought I was in quite quickly, normally with the NHS everything takes like months and months and months. He said he thought I had narcolepsy, and I was like, I thought that was where you just like, I'd be talking now and I'd fall asleep. No, that's what I've seen in movies. And he was like, yeah, that's what a lot of people think. And he was like, but no, a lot of people with that have a lot of the same problems you do. And he was like, but they also have a chemical that's missing or that is low in their brain. And he was like, which is what I was looking out for with you, and you don't have that, you're fine. So I have had like other tests done, blood tests, all that kind of stuff. He was like, that's what I was worried about with you, but it's not that, because I've checked. He was like, which is a good thing, because you would have been on like lifelong medication, and it would have been like hard and to fix. And the medication can be quite rough, blah blah blah. So obviously I'm glad it wasn't that. He was like, but I think your problem is threefold. And he was like, you have restless leg syndrome. He was like, your legs are just unbelievably restless, you couldn't keep still, which I always just thought was because I'm a fidget and I can't get comfortable. But he was like, no, you have restless leg syndrome. He was like, you have parasomnia, which is the hallucinations and the sleepwalking, sleep talking, and you have insomnia, like how long it took you to sleep. And on the forms that I had to fill out for the 2 weeks every single night beforehand, he was like, you have insomnia. Which again, like I think of as that people just don't ever sleep, that they just go like 3 weeks of literally not one wink of sleep, which is not what I have, but it's not as like clear cut as that, I suppose, like any illness. So basically he was like, 20 years ago I would have given you a Valium and told you to sod off, and like we laughed. And he was like, but number one, I don't want to give you more medication because of the amount of medication you're on. Number two, it'd be hard to find what medication would be best for you because of all the medication you're on. And I was like, that's how I feel, like I don't need any more tablets, I'm on so many already, it's hard to keep up with already. He was like, so I want to send you to a sleep psychotherapist and a sleep it's basically like he said sleep boot camp, and he was like, it's got really high success rate, you'll just have to wait for an appointment. And I was like, okay, so that's basically what's going to happen. He's setting up a care plan for me, and we'll wait and see. He said with the restless legs, a lot of people have that because of deficiencies like iron, which we already know I'm deficient in, but I'm on supplements, but I know they take a while to get in your system, so maybe it's that. He was like, that's fairly easy to fix. He was like, a lot of the time we can get you on supplements and then that'll go away, and then you'll hopefully fall asleep easier, which will help the insomnia side of things, which will then in turn help the parasomnia. It's all very complicated. Like, it was hard to understand a lot of the obviously technical terms and stuff, but the doctor's really great. I was really upset because, so basically the night before, a nurse came in and was like, I've just got to put your like all the stickers on, and I was like, okay, yeah, it's fine. I had to have 2 on each leg, and then the wires running up inside my pyjamas and coming out like my chest. I then had to have all on my like here on my face and jaw, and then all over my scalp. So they tell you beforehand like how perfectly clean you've got to be when you get there, because otherwise they won't stick properly and they won't be able to pick up what they need to pick up, blah blah blah. So the lady was like, she was lovely, the nurse, but she was like, so this is the stuff, and it was like bright blue. She was like, this is the stuff I'm going to put on your skin to like clean it and exfoliate it, and then I'll stick the things down. Well, I watched her do my legs, and some of, I think it was my jaw ones, not the chin one, these ones, and it was literally, yeah, she wiped this like cold, like smelled like alcohol, like, you know, that like hand sanitizer alcohol-y smell like that, rubbed it on and then stuck the sticker on, fine. And then she did all my scalp, and it literally wasn't until the next day, when I saw the nurses that were, by the way, like incredibly rushed, like they were rushed off their feet because of how busy it was, and the doctors were coming in and they were just in a panic, so basically just ripping everything off you, which is obviously not their fault, but yeah, they were taking it off me. And she was like, oh, when you get home you can use nail polish remover on your scalp. And I was like, for what? And she was like, to remove the glue. And I was like, what glue? She was like, we use glue to stick the ones on your scalp. And I was like, brilliant. Literally no one told me that. And I know that might sound stupid, but like I couldn't see what she was doing, and with my legs and my face it was actually just stickers and they peeled off. So why would I know it was any different if no one told me? It didn't feel any different. Like the coldness and the wetness, I just assumed was the stuff that was the same as when she cleaned my face and my legs. So yeah, I had huge lumps of hard glue all over my scalp, which getting out, I can't use nail polish remover like acetone. She was like, you know, by the bottle. I can't use that anyway because it brings me out in rashes. It's too like violent on my skin. And I have scalp problems anyway, as you guys know. My scalp is covered in sores and scabs, which is not nice, and it's tender and bruised, and I lose my hair, which they knew all about. Maybe they haven't got any other choice, but I at least could have been warned, and wasn't happy. Like I went back to my room and was trying to like pull it out, and it was literally pulling chunks of hair, chunks of skin with it, and my scalp was bleeding in various places, and now I'm covered in scabs and sores again. Like my scalp literally feels like I've been beaten. I reread over all the information they sent me beforehand as well, and it didn't say anywhere that they were going to use glue on my scalp, but there you go. So that was fantastic. So yeah, now it's just a waiting game. In other news, I went to the doctor because whilst I was in hospital, I'd been given an ear spray that was an antibiotic and a steroid, because I've had an ear infection in both ears since before Christmas. And then when I started using it on like the 3rd day, particularly in this ear, it was so painful to spray in, and then I went completely deaf for hours. Like literally, I couldn't clear it, but it didn't feel like anything was there. Like I couldn't feel anything there, and I was like shaking my ear and trying to get it out, but I just went completely deaf. So I called my doctors and said, like, is that normal? Should I be going deaf? Should it hurt that much? It hasn't for the first few days, and now it is. And they were like, discontinue use immediately. Can you come in this afternoon? And I was like, no, I'm at hospital having like loads of tests done. I can come in tomorrow though. Yeah, that's fine. They booked me an appointment. My doctor's is awful. You don't get to choose which doctor you see, which I don't know any other doctors that does that, and I think it's very bizarre, and I hate it for this exact reason. There's a doctor at my doctor's surgery who I don't know a single person who likes seeing her or would choose to see her, but like in this case, I was given her and I literally had no choice. If I've ever said, oh, I don't want to see her, can I see someone else, they refuse you. And the reason being, it's not just me being like a twat, she's incompetent. She has given me codeine, which I'm allergic to, every time I've seen her. I went with my mum once and my mum told her what her allergies were, and then she checked the thing as well, and it comes up in red, doesn't it, across their screen when you've got allergies, and it said that, and she was like, yeah, okay, and she gave my mum something, and my mum was like, are you sure that doesn't have penicillin in it, because I'm allergic, that's what I've just told you I'm allergic to. Yeah, absolutely not. And then the pharmacy was like, no allergies to penicillin. Once we took it across to the pharmacy, my mum was like, yeah, I'm allergic to penicillin. They were like, you can't have this, it's got penicillin in it. And she'd done that to every single person I know, giving them things they're allergic to, giving them things they can't. Or that's what the other thing is. Obviously, not every time I've gone in, her codeine's been the answer. But the other time I saw her, she gave me a tablet that it explicitly says on the box when I got given the pills in the pharmacy that it cannot be taken with one of my other pills. That she knows I'm on because I told her and it was on her screen. So she is just incompetent. She's just a terrible, terrible doctor. She was who I got given. I went in. I said, this is the problem, I've had it since before Christmas. I came in once already, they gave me antibiotics, they did nothing, I took them the whole week. I've come off them, it's actually got worse. I've then been given the ear spray by a different doctor, and then now it's making me deaf and it really, really hurts. Like it's too painful to use, I'm not comfortable using it. She literally laughed in my face and said, of course it makes you go deaf, you're putting liquid in your ear, what do you expect? And I was like, but it hasn't done for 3 days. And she was like, yeah, but that's normal, that's perfectly normal. She was like, so you need to leave, you need to continue to use it until the time's up, and then you need to go back and see a different doctor if it's still not better. And literally just sat there like, off you fuck. Like, yeah, and that was it. And I was like, okay, brilliant. I'd already told her multiple times I wasn't comfortable continuing use, and she literally was like, that is all I'm going to do for you. And now it's been a week. I still have ear infections. They're really sore, really painful. It's affecting my hearing. And it's getting to me a bit, to be honest. But yeah, just wanted to catch you up on my health updates. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea, I think, with some chocolate cookies. That's what I deserve. See you later. Hey guys, so a totally different format. We are now in April 2018 because I don't know when I last filmed for this video, but I had a bit of a quiet spell with appointments, which is unlike me, but then I've recently had an influx where I've had like 5 in a week, or 5 in 2 weeks. So yeah, the main thing I wanted to talk about today was the fact that I saw my rheumatologist for the first time since last year, which was deliberate on his part. Like, so basically, my rheumatologist is great. Like, I think he's amazing. He's just so thorough. He sat down and checked up on everything that he had referred me to. So anything that he had referred me to, he checked up on. He was asking me, oh, so, you know, because like he referred me to dermatology and he referred me for the sleep study, so those kind of things. He was like, how did it go, when are you next seeing them, what did they tell you, blah blah blah. Obviously he was reading his screen as well, but also asking me, which is so nice and so reassuring. And I told him what had happened with those, and then he asked when was the last time I saw my GP, and I said, yeah, it's been a really long time, but I am seeing her in a few days. It was a few days after, that was one of the 5 appointments. And then he said that my bloods were good, which is good. My vitamin D levels were good, which is good. But what I've realised now is that I'm never going to be able to have that other tablet that he wants to put me on. The tablet that he wants to get me, which apparently would help me lots, I will never be able to have. And the other tablet I can't have until after I've had all of the children that I want to have or can have, because it really affects your chances of having kids and complicates things. So that's always disheartening, but I think I'd kind of already come to terms with that before I even saw him. I thought that was what was going to happen. So the main thing to come out of my appointment with him was, first of all, I asked him about exercising. I said, you know, I really miss being as fit and active as I used to be, and nothing to do with my weight or the way that I look, but literally just that I miss, like, there's some people in life that really enjoy being active and moving their body and doing things, and there are some people that really hate exercise or anything that's active, and both are fine. But I have always been one of those people that I love anything outdoors, I love anything active, I love anything that gets me sweating and my body moving. And I said to him, at the moment, like, I know I'm still learning, but what I'm finding hard is that at the moment, even what I would consider really light exercise is like killing me. Like, I'll do a 20-minute walk or a 20-minute swim and I'll be gentle with myself, but then for days afterwards I'm in absolute agony. I can't walk, I can't move. I said to him, should I persevere, push through that, keep going, like even when I feel like that, make myself do it? Not for any other reason other than that, will that make my fitness levels improve? Like, if I push through, will I eventually be able to, will it get easier? Will that aftermath happen less or be less severe? And he was like, no. Absolutely not. Do not. If you are in a point where you are in that much pain and you literally can't move, don't do anything. Don't do anything. Rest. He said, but what that is showing you is that whatever you've done is too much. And I was like, how can a 20-minute walk be too much? Like, I said to him, I still think, well, I do. I still think of myself in my head as being able to do all the things I used to be able to do. And the reality is that I can't. And that is something that I struggle to accept. And I said that to him, that I know that about myself. And he was like, well, that's the problem. He said, you need to find whatever your starting point is, it shouldn't be knocking you out like that. Yes, you'll be probably slightly more tired in the beginning. Yes, you'll probably be in slightly a little bit more pain at the beginning. But it shouldn't be wiping you out for days or weeks. You shouldn't be like unable to walk. It shouldn't be that bad where you swell up and blah, blah, blah. Because then you're just going to cause flare-ups, and that doesn't help anyone. He was like, so no, you need to do even less. So even if that's literally just walking down your road like 3 houses, and you need to increase what you're doing slower, because I said, yeah, I'm the worst for that. I like go swimming one day and do 20 minutes, and then because if I ever do feel all right, I'm like, oh, tomorrow I'll do 40 minutes, I'll do double, because I'm impatient. And yeah, it's just something that I'm finding very, very hard in terms of my lupus. And so he said, no, you need to fix that, even if it's just walking three doors down, and you need to do that for 2 weeks until you feel that it's getting easier and that your tiredness and your pain is basically gone after doing that. Then you would improve, and even then you'd only improve by 2 more doors. Not, oh, I've walked down there and it's become easy, so now I'm gonna go on a 5-mile sprint. You know, everything needs to be tiny. He was like, but there is no reason why you can't go back to being able to do all the things you used to. It's just going to take a really long time. You're going to have to just be really patient, which I am not. I am the least patient person I've ever met, and even hearing that, like, pisses me off. That I'm going to have to do things that slowly. But look, if it's something that I want for myself and for my life, then I'm going to have to do it. But it's hard. It's really hard, like restraining myself. My mind still thinks I can do so much more than I physically can, and it hasn't got any easier. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you, in that it's been 2 years now, nearly, since I was diagnosed, and honestly that part of it hasn't got easier. My brain still thinks I'm who I was before, and I'm not. I can't do what I used to do. So that was hard, but it was actually, it made me hopeful when he said that I could get there, but that it'll just take time. So a good and a bad, I guess, that message from him, that part of the thing. But another refreshing thing that I do want to touch on is just that even then, he never ever brings up my weight. He never ever brings up, he never wants to know what I eat. And this is what annoys me, because a lot of people would say, well, maybe he should, because fat phobia. But he is smart enough that he has looked through my notes, he has read all of the reports from when I first got unwell, and he's smart enough to know that weight isn't always an indication of health, that food isn't the be-all and end-all of life, and that he also trusts what I've told him. And like on my first ever meeting with him, I went into a lot of detail. I kind of jumped in talking about my weight because I wanted to beat him to it, because up until that point and since then, every other doctor tries to make every single problem that I have about my weight. Even like, it's so annoying because some of the doctors I've seen for years, and I'm like, but you saw me before and you know that I have the exact same problems that I had when I was skinny. You know I do. It's on your file. Like, nothing, literally nothing has changed. So to make it out like it is all because of my weight when you know it's not is, oh, it's unbelievably infuriating. But he doesn't ever do that, and he never has, and he's read the thing. And when I did, even in that first meeting when I brought up my weight, he was like, I don't think, like, it's like you were clearly just this exactly the same amount of unwell before you were before you gained weight. It was clear that your weight gain was abnormal. All of the doctors, you saw a dietitian, they even put me on those horrendous fat burning pill things that were like hell on earth, and nothing worked. So he's smart enough to know that it's irrelevant in this case, and that he doesn't need to bring it up. But that to me is like, makes the world a difference. It makes me trust him more, it makes me feel safe with him. I just wish all doctors could be like that, but they're not. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that, throw that in there, because that was a part of the meeting. And then he kind of said something that was flippant, but that did twig in me. But we have so much to get through when I see him, especially if I haven't seen him for so long, that as soon as he'd said it and it twigged in me, he asked me something else about something totally different, and I answered, and then we got chatting, and then I totally forgot to bring it up. But when we came out, my boyfriend said to me, did that thing that something he said like twigged to me? And I said, oh my god, it did to me too. And then I was annoyed that I didn't bring it up. He made this flippant comment in passing, kind of whilst looking at his laptop, about you know, because it's not like if you have fibro where you're in pain all the time, constantly, every day, as if I'm not, or people with lupus shouldn't be in pain all day, every day. And when I left, I was like, that flags up two things to me. One, he is now the third doctor to mention fibro to me. If you don't know what that is, it's I can never say it first time, fibromyalgia. I think that's how you say it, fibromyalgia. And that's unlike lupus in that it's a condition, not a disease, but very much like lupus in that the symptoms are pain, fatigue, like IBS, stomach, gastro problems, sleep problems, migraines, all of which, to be fair, I tick the boxes of. So it would make sense, but he was the third person to say it, so that flagged to me. And secondly, it made me think, should I, as a person who would just have SLE lupus, not be in this much pain every day? Because I am. And is he under that impression that I'm not? Now, this like started a conversation between me and my boyfriend, because and before any of you think, why didn't my boyfriend jump in? The way his office is set up is really awkward. It basically means that Ben is sat behind the doctor. Like, there's just no room for him to be any closer. Like, the way that it's set up, I'm basically sat right by the door. Like, whenever the nurse opens the door, it hits my chair. Just the way his office is set up. So it is awkward, I get it, and like also Ben's not like that. He doesn't like to intervene because he often, I think, thinks that there'll be a reason I haven't bought something up, or there'll be a reason I didn't feel the need to, or whatever, so he lets me deal with it. Me, who, if I go to his appointments and he forgets something, I'm like, but I'm annoying like that. But yeah, it started a conversation where Ben was like, you really play down how bad you are, how unwell you are when you're with him. And that's because I think, well, straight away, the first thing that I said to Ben in response was, well, I think that's because he's told me there's nothing more he can do for me at the moment. So, like, I almost feel like, what's the point? And it gets awkward. The last time that I did sit there and, like, nearly cry and tell him how bad I've been and how awful life is, honestly, with how much pain I'm in, etc, etc, he just kind of was like, I'm really sorry, but there's nothing I can do. This is the best you'll feel for now, because there's nothing else I can give you to help. So then what's the point, I almost feel like. But then I regretted it, and I know that I need to be telling him, and it needs to be on my file, and blah blah blah, and I regret that. I've kicked myself. But I'm trying to rectify the situation, which I'll go into in a second. But yeah, then it got me confused, and I was like, okay, so, and then I did some research of my own and found that, like, it seems as though a lot of people with lupus do have these periods of remission where they're not in a flare, where they do feel almost like they did beforehand, which I have never experienced. So this all got me worried. I started to think, oh my god, do I have something else as well? Like, because I know for sure it's not that because a couple of people have said to me, oh, well, does it mean that you've got something and not lupus? But I have lupus, because all of my bloods have the antibodies in. I tick all the boxes, basically, even like scientifically with my bloods and everything. So I have lupus, but I also could have something else. It's very easy when you have something to just blame it all on that, and that's what I've been doing. I've just been, oh well, this is lupus for me, and I know that it's different for everyone. But what I'm going to do is message the Lupus UK charity and ask for their advice. But I saw my GP a few days later, and I flagged it up to her. I said, he's now the third doctor to bring up fibro to me. Is this something I should be concerned about? Something I should look into getting diagnosed? And I said, because he made this comment, and I am in pain every single day since before I got diagnosed, because I was obviously ill to get diagnosed. So for like 3 years now, every single day I'm in agony, and I'm exhausted, and it doesn't ease up. Flares are just 10 times worse. It's not that this is better. Does that make sense? And she actually straight away said, I do trust my GP as much as my GP surgery is a nightmare. She is actually very, very good, and I trust her. She was the first person to ever bring up lupus, even before I had shown some of the bigger signs of it. So I trust her. And she said straight away, yeah, I think you very well could have fibro. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. She printed me off loads of information about it, and she said you would need to. I said, how do I go about like getting tested for that? And she said, well, there's no real like one test, but it would be a rheumatologist who would do that with you. Okay, so I should see my rheumatologist. Yes. When you next see him, bring this up to him. Say that you want to be looked at for fibro. And I said, okay. And then I got my letter through, and my rheumatologist doesn't want to see me until next year, unless I have a flare-up in summer, because summer is worse. And I think he wants my bloods on file for when I'm in like my worst state in summer, and when my levels are all spiking. But so what I'm going to have to do is call up my rheumatologist's office, get an appointment with him before next year, see him, bring up this fibro thing, so rectify with him and tell him like I am in pain every single day, and it was only that like we moved on, and which is not his fault, and it's not my, it's more mine. I should have said something, but it's very like when we come out, like even Ben said that wasn't even my appointment, but I'm like exhausted after that. There's so much information that you and him discuss and go through, and there's like a million different things to talk about because of all the aspects of this illness. And I was like, yeah, I literally feel like I've been hit by a brick. And I went home and I fell asleep for 4 hours, which I never do. Like I have insomnia, I can't sleep. So crazy. So I need to do that. I need to rectify the situation. Whilst I was with my GP, I also brought up problems with my ears, which I've mentioned for, I've literally had since last year. My GP was like, no, we can't. I'm going to need to send you to an ENT. She looked in my ears and said that your canals are both very inflamed. Another problem I brought up with her was my migraines. My migraines have been particularly terrible. I also brought this up with my rheumatologist. Well, he actually asked, because he knows I suffer with them. And he said, when was the last time you saw someone about your migraines? I said, well, I bring it up to my GP every time I see her because they're constantly a huge issue for me. I said, but like a specialist, or I said, and he said, have you ever seen anyone? I said, yeah, I saw a neurologist. And then I sat there and thought about it and I said, I think that was in like 2011. And he was just like, and you've not seen anyone since? And I was like, no. And he was just like, that's so bad. He was like, you should have, there's only so much, he said, there's only so much your GP can do for you with migraines, and if she can't do any more, she needs to be sending you to people that can. Like, you shouldn't have to live like this in 2018 with migraines. And I was like, you know what, you are right. You are right. So he said, I'm actually going to write a note on my letter and address that with your GP. And I have all the confidence in the world that if my GP didn't refer me, that he would, because he's just that good. He just looks, he really looks after me. He's done all my other referrals for all my other problems. Like, he's amazing. Anyway, back to the GP. I brought on my migraines with her, and I said, at the moment I feel like they're worse because I've got this problem with my neck, like real bad neck pain, and it felt like in the middle of the night I like trapped a nerve or something. So she felt my neck and she said, oh, it's all like twisted and awful. Surprise. So she was like, I'll give you muscle relaxants for 2 weeks, and if it doesn't improve, she was like, because not often it's just that you've like, yeah, got something wrong with the muscle, and once it's relaxed itself and you've got it moving again, it'll ease off, pain will ease off, and then that'll cure your migraine problems. Like, not cure my migraine problems, but make the fact that I'm going for a really bad period with them better. Because often she just wants to give me contraceptive pills, because my migraines do get worse around my period every month. But I don't want to be on the contraceptive pill. I was for years, and I just don't think at this point in my life that's for me, and that's my decision, which I've discussed with her, so it is annoying. That's all she ever offers. But if I go back in 2 weeks and this isn't better, I'm going to ask to see someone about my migraines. But I have every faith that my rheumatologist will also sort that out for me. Yeah, so that was another thing. Are you getting the picture of how like insane my appointments are? Last thing I brought up with my GP was my sinus problems. If you don't know, I have rhinitis, chronic rhinitis, and also sinusitis. Is that how you say it? Basically, the inner lining of my nose on either side is so swollen that it's closed my nose. I can't breathe through my nose, and I haven't been able to since 2014. Awful. And not only that, it's extremely painful, which I don't think helps with my ear problems. I think that could be related. I also think it could be related to why my headaches are so bad at the moment, because I've had a period with my sinuses where since Christmas they've been I've had no relief. They've been terrible, where normally I do go through periods of a bit of relief. So I spoke to that about my GP, and I said, look, I haven't seen the ENT about that for 2 years now, since 2016. And she checked and she was like, oh my god, yeah. And I said, yeah, it keeps getting cancelled, and then they've just not written to me in months. So I've got to re-refer myself. She's given me the things to do that, so I'm going to re-refer myself, because I actually am, I think, I keep saying I am, and then I'm like, I think, because I'm actually dreading it. I think I'm going to take the surgery. They've offered me it twice, and I've turned it down both times. First time because I just couldn't deal with it, what I was going through at the time. And the second time, I was going through that worst period of my lupus I've ever had, and I was like, I cannot face surgery whilst I feel like this. But now I'm at the end of my tether with it. I can't live like this. I literally can't breathe. I constantly have a nasal drip down the back of my throat. That's why I'm always like sniffling in my videos constantly, and it's painful and swollen, and I'm done. So I'm going to take the surgery. And as much as I really don't want to do that, because I don't think it's very pleasant, and I don't think it has the highest success rate either, which scares me and puts me off, but I am that done with it, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Oh, also, I have to start wearing hats now. It's got to that point of the year where my rheumatologist was like, stock up on loads of hats because you need to start wearing them in order to help with my hair loss. But anyway, today I actually have an appointment with my dermatology doctor about my dermatologist, yeah, about my hair loss and my scalp problems. But can you believe, like, I'm sorry, it's basically bald here and here, and now my hairline is basically back to how it was before. So what the dermatologist did for me last time obviously worked. The iron tablets have 100% worked, but I need to just get something that I can put on my scalp because it's itchy, it's sore, it bleeds, it scabs, it's ugh. I'm done with it. So yeah, that's today. I think that's everything for now. I will see you again after my appointment. Bye. Hey guys, so I just filmed a makeup video, hence the crazy makeup just for this little Lupus vlog. Last week I had my dermatology appointment. It's the first time I've seen a dermatologist in 6 months, and it was just dreadful. I don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I feel like every single video that I'm on here talking about doctors, I'm here to say they're all terrible, other than occasionally my GP and my rheumatologist. But actually my rheumatologist has also irked me, which I'll get into. But yeah, so I had the appointment. I just knew it was going to be bad from the get-go, because like the way the office is set out is like the chairs are in the middle of the room where you wait, and then all the offices of all the different doctors are like round the outside of a circle. And I was sitting there and someone's called my name, and I got straight up because we were already running late, so I was like eager to go in, and also it's boiling hot up there all the time. And then I literally couldn't see the doctor. I had to walk around in that circle to every single office and poke my head in like, did you call me? Did you call me? And no one came out and said, oh sorry, it was me. The doctor had just disappeared into their own office again. Eventually, it was literally, of course, the last one that I got to. Sat down and it was just silent for like 5 whole minutes. I'm not even joking. And it's just so painfully awkward. It was just silent. He was just staring at his computer screen. Eventually, he then said, what's your date of birth? And I told him. And then he just went silent again and was staring at the computer screen. And me and Ben were looking at each other like... Then he goes, okay, so who did you see last time you were here? And I said, oh, it was... a lady, but I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. Like, I'm at different hospitals every week, and it was like 6 months ago, sorry, kind of thing. And he goes, you've never seen a lady here? And I was like, yeah, I did. Like, what did you say? It was I know I did. And then we literally had a 20-minute argument about the fact that he was adamant I had never seen a female doctor there, and I knew I had, and Ben was at that last appointment as well, so he knew I had, so it was just incredibly annoying. And it got past the point of being funny anymore. It just became like, why are we doing this? Does it even matter? Like, it just was boring, but he just was like a dog with a bone trying to make a point that I was wrong. And then he made this whole speech about, no, in July 2016 you saw Dr. Mansour, and I said yes, and that wasn't to do with this, that was when I got diagnosed with lupus. And he went, yes, but he's an Indian man. And then he goes, and then in whatever the date was, you saw me, and I'm a Pakistani man, so you've never seen a woman. And I was like, first of all, I don't know what either of you being Indian or Pakistani has got to do with anything. Like, I don't know what he was trying to get at with that or imply. I'm like painfully polite to doctors because of how badly I get treated by them. It makes me so deeply uncomfortable, and because of the way they treat me, especially to do with my weight and blah blah blah, I'm just painfully uncomfortable. In every other aspect of life, I'm happy to tell a bitch off, but with doctors, I just find it, I don't know, there's all because of the way they treat me. So I wish I'd just like been blunt, but I wasn't. But I was being overly polite. Even now, I was giggling and going like, "Oh no, I'm sure it was definitely." And then he's like, "Going, do I look like a woman to you?" Like fully confrontational. Do I look like a woman to you? And I was like, no, but it also wasn't you that I saw. And then he goes, does Dr. Mansour look like a woman to you? And I was like, oh, we're really gonna do this. And I was like, no, but it wasn't him that I saw. I was like, it's a woman. I don't know what to tell you, but it was a woman. I said it. He tapped away, and this is literally, I'm not even joking, it was like 10 to 20 minutes of this arguing over, and him going, oh, it's really funny that you think I look like a woman, and oh, painful, honestly, awkward, painful. I was done at this point. And then he tapped away and then went, oh, and then started laughing, and I was like, yes, what? And shock, yeah, I was right. He went, oh yeah, you saw a GP that's not normally here, but she was here that day and she saw you, and I just wrote off on the notes, but that's who you saw, yeah, you saw. And then he named her, and I was like, oh, is that not what I've just been saying? Like, why can't you just fucking listen to me and believe me? It's so unbelievably frustrating. He didn't apologise. He didn't go like, yeah, sorry for causing all of that. Nothing. Just like went on as if that didn't just happen. He just went silent again. So then I interjected, because I was like, this is just a waste of my fucking time. I said, so the iron tablets that the doctor, the lady doctor, put me on last time, I think are really working. He was like, oh, okay then, so I don't need to see you again. And I was like, well, hold on a minute, like, I wanted to talk to you about my scalp problems though, because I wasn't given anything for my scalp problems last time, but they've got even worse. Like, my scalp bleeds, it gets so sore and tender and bruises, and I can't even like brush my hair some days, and it goes so unbelievably dry and itchy. And then he put me on treatment, but I literally had to like lead the appointment, and it's so exhausting. Honestly, it's so exhausting when you go to the hospital sometimes twice every week to different places, and 90% of doctors are like this. It's exhausting and you get fed up, and I'm like angry and done with it. Like, it's just, why can't you just all do your fucking job? Like, oh, rant over. Back to the actual information at hand. So yeah, so he said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll give you this treatment stuff. There's something to put on your scalp, and then there's like a special shampoo. So you'd like put it on your scalp once a day and then wash it off. And I was like, and he goes, it's just simple as that. Here's your prescription. I don't think we need to see you again. If you feel like you need to see us, call us. And then just shoved it at me and turned around. And I was like, okay, like, didn't check my scalp. Like, last time they checked my scalp, and the lady that I'd saw was lovely, and she actually said, when you come back in, we'll check for scarring and stuff. He didn't do any of that. But like, and I get annoyed at myself because I'm like, why didn't I just demand that he do it? But like, after you've sat there in that appointment with just silence or arguments, the last thing you want to do is say, hey, can you come and touch me and check my scalp? Do you know what I mean? So it put me off. I didn't say anything. I'm annoyed at myself now. What can I say? Like, everything's great in hindsight. But anyway, we walked out and the pharmacy was closed. And he'd given me, the receptionist was like, oh, he's giving you the wrong prescription, because he's giving you the one that you can only get here at the hospital. So you're going to have to come back here another day to get your prescription. So, and more days that I was without my treatment. Another trip back to the hospital, which isn't by my house, is just so unbelievably frustrating. Like, just do your job, doctor, do your job, do your job. Right, so I've got the stuff, and it's horrid. Like every treatment that I ever seem to come across, it's just awful. The scalp treatment smells, it's just like anti-bac gel. It's like pure vodka, and everywhere on the information sheets I got with it, and then I did my research because of these information sheets, it's like, says how specific the amount you use is, because it's really strong and it's potent and it's dangerous, and it's steroid in there as well. So you should have been told exactly how much to use by your doctor. Do you think that doctor told me exactly how much to use? Of course not. He just said, put it on your scalp. And then same with the shampoo. It's like coal tar shampoo, so it just smells like petrol. It's rancid. I can't blow dry my hair. I can't be around cigarettes, electric heaters, like any heat to do with my hair. So my hair is insane at the moment, and dry, and it's just all unpleasant. I'm just hoping it fixes the problems and I can get it over and done within a few weeks. Also, he didn't tell me how long to use it for, and I am gonna have to call him. I'm just disheartened. I'm fed up with bad doctors. They're like playing with my health, and that's not okay. So yeah, anyway, please give this video a thumbs up, which is weird to say, but it's in support of me. You're not thumbsing up the terrible doctors, you're thumbsing me up and this beautiful makeup. Yeah, please subscribe. I do upload 2 new videos every single week at the moment, and I would love to have you here. I'm just struggling. Bye guys.